What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a very special edition of Renegade Marquee. This is the Renegade Marquee Oscar ballot. My name is Mike. I'll be your host this evening. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Tommy.
Greetings, Captain. It is an absolute joy to be amongst you this evening to discuss the 96th edition of the Super Bowl for the motion picture industry.
Hell yeah. And joining me, we've got Keona.
Hello.
And we've got Bree.
And with your yearly reminder that the Oscars take place in a mall.
Yes. I never get tired of pointing out that fact.
True.
So we are taking a page from Siskel and Ebert's If We Pick the Winners. And just for brevity, we won't be going through all 24 categories. We're mostly just going to keep this to the major ones. So before we kind of get into the nominations, just generally speaking, how are we feeling about the ceremony this year? Tommy, I guess I'll start with you.
I think this ceremony is going to be a wonderful selection. It's not perfect as far as what could potentially bring in ratings, such as, the showcases that were memorable not being nominated, such as Jack Black performing Peaches live, or, for example, Timothée Chalamet doing musical numbers from Wonka. But even then, it's still going to be a wonderful celebration of the year that was 2023. And ratings will still come in due to the movies that were released over 2023 because people went to the movies. That's what's so brilliant about this ceremony. And that's what it's going to be so memorable for. It's like when Top Gun Maverick was nominated, it brought people back to the movies. And in 2023, with Barbenheimer specifically, people stayed at the movies. That's what 2023 is all about. And that's what we're going to see through this celebration on ABC.
I would have to agree with that. Like it kind of feels like expanding upon Top Gun's sort of contribution to the ratings, because 2023, I think, was it was the year of Barbenheimer. And you kind of see that reflected in how many nominations both movies got. Bree, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I would totally agree. And I think a lot of it, too, is because of the actors' strike. Barbenheimer was kind of like the last big event movie of the year. I mean, I guess you could kind of debate Godzilla -1, but that's not even remotely the same thing.
Yeah, it don't get me wrong, that was an event, but more like an 11th hour surprise. A pleasant one, but still not quite on the same level.
But yeah, Barbenheimer. I mean, I actually got a Barbenheimer shirt as a gift. So, I mean, it was definitely a year to remember. Some good, some bad. But yeah, I mean, I don't think with this year's ceremony, there's going to be too many twists. There's some twists I wish would happen. But, barring, another La La Land, Moonland, I can't even say another La La Land,
Moonlight, Best Picture.
I'm sorry. I think Oscar ceremonies peaked with that. I mean, you could talk about the slap all you want, but I will never forget the utter chaos around midnight Eastern Standard Time after the whole fucking Moonlight and La La Land thing won.
Well, and that's the thing too, because when you think back on it, there was something that was made crystal clear about how somebody from, I can't remember where it was, if it was Deadline, Variety. I can't remember the outlet for the life of me of where it said that. But going forward, not only were those accountants replaced, and deservingly so, but when you look at the idea was somebody up top had the list of winners on the side, and you think, okay, everything's going to go good. And then Joaquin Phoenix announced Anthony Hopkins as the winner for his performance in The Father, and you're thinking, wait, what? And then it just ended like that. So you're thinking, okay, so that wasn't true. So even by taking that out of the equation, I mean, there'll be welcome surprises, I guess you could say. I think there'll be welcome surprises instead of the bad surprises. But I'm still confident that it'll be a good ceremony. You have to have that moment of optimism. It's a celebratory occasion, and a wonderful one at that.
Keona, what about you? Any surprises you're looking forward to? If there's any you think that we'll get this year.
I kind of think this year is in the bag. I mean, I maybe you might see something like Emma Stone kind of go into a battle for Best Actress with Lily Gladstone. I think other than that, it's pretty much a lock. Maybe like Paul Giamatti versus Cillian Murphy. That might be an interesting one. Maybe Jeffrey Wright, dark horse candidate, perhaps to win. I still haven't seen that movie though, so I don't know for sure. But like American Fiction and Jeffrey Wright, he's a just amazing actor. So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Do you think John Williams is going to win for best score?
If that happens, film Twitter will burn to the ground.
All that burning. Let me ask you guys this. I was thinking about this before the nominees were announced because I had this dream that had Greta been nominated for Best Achievement in Directing, the idea presented itself. It would have been absolutely poetic, like the perfect bow on the incredible year of 2023 had this happen. But it's a rarity in awards ceremonies, and specifically in the Academy Awards. The most recent time this transpired was in 2013, celebrating the year of cinema that was 2012, when Mark Wahlberg read for Best Sound when he said, we have a tie. And the tie was between Zero Dark 30 and Skyfall. What do you think, if anything, are the possibilities of a tie, as rare as it is?
Oh, that's a tough one, because I don't think mathematically, in a preferential ballot, there can be a tie for Best Picture.
Yeah,
it's possible,
but probably not. I don't think it's probable.
Yeah,
I think where you might see a tie, and again, this is just a might, would be Best Adapted Screenplay between Barbie and Oppenheimer.
I could see that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see that.
The one spot for me where I believe that to be a possibility more than any other category, based on the trends and where you never say never, but the possibility is there, would be the race for Best Actor between Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy. That's the most possible answer for me, just because the tremendous back and forth, like two titans duking it out, a friendly battle between two titans. And who knows? At the end of the night, they can all celebrate it in and out.
Well, speaking of friends, that does take us to our first category for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role. We'll start with Keona's submission. He says Margot Robbie with respect to Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone.
That would be my wishful thinking. Yes.
Yes. Bree put down Lily Gladstone.
I just think it should happen. Honestly, it's a toss-up between her and Emma, but I'm like, I just in my heart, that's what I want to happen.
And for Tommy's pick, he picked Emma Stone.
That's right. Well, I would be equally as thrilled if Lily Gladstone captured this victory for her performance in Killers of the Flower Moon. I selected Emma Stone because Bella Baxter will go down as one of the more original characters from 2023. The mannerism in which Emma Stone was able to bring Tony McNamara's creation to life is now hard to vision how such an adaptation would be delivered through the presence of another performer. We see this literal creation grow and watch them embark on an odyssey, a journey of self-discovery that showcases the epitome of what leadership is all about. Not leadership from a performance standpoint specifically, but through an essence of growth.
And here's where I'm torn. Everything, Tommy, that you just said about Emma Stone is absolutely correct. But this movie came out the same year as Killers of the Flower Moon, and despite not having as much screen time as Emma Stone in Poor Things, I think Lily Gladstone gives a more I guess, subdued performance and really just is the heart of that film.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to lean towards Lily Gladstone.
Respectable choice, and I would still be equally as excited if Lily Gladstone pulled this off because she is very deserving as well. But based on the originality, that's why I chose Emma Stone.
Yeah, honestly, you can't go wrong with any of these. But this one, this next category, I think is probably the one we can breeze by the quickest. Best Supporting Actress. Let me just double check my notes. I'm pretty sure all four of us said Davine Joy Randolph. Let's see.
I actually had a different one.
Oh,
What? That's the first surprise of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Keona, who did you select and why?
Carey Mulligan, Maestro.
Ooh.
I mean, no, you guys are completely right. If Davine Joy Randolph, if he wins, I absolutely think it's well deserved. Absolutely. Maybe it's recency bias because I did see Maestro more recently than the holdovers, but I will say that I think Carey Mulligan really turned in an excellent performance in that film. It's an embarrassment of riches this year. It's just so ridiculous how many excellent performances are out there. So Davine Joy Randolph definitely deserves it as well. Yeah.
I will admit that I still have not got around to Maestro yet.
Oh, she's so good in Maestro. Just devastating. So good.
Yeah, the last three movies nominated for Best Picture that I have to catch are Anatomy of a Fall, Maestro, and The Zone of Interest, which unfortunately has still never played at my theater. I think it'll be out on VOD by the time this podcast is posted. For anyone who wants to do their 11th hour Oscar catch up. Now, the next sort of layup in terms of nominees, Best Achievement in Directing. I'm going to assume, just based on my notes, all four of us said Christopher Nolan because it's his time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It is the boys' time.
100%. Because
Yes.
the power showcased from a good director is when they believe in their art and properly utilize their influence in presenting a cinematic opus, such is the case with Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer. The reason why Nolan can be seen as rightfully placed alongside Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg on a Mount Rushmore of best directors of a generation. It's a spectacular celebration of the craft with a choice to film on film combined with different color selections for the sake of orientation and character development and pristine sound editing that flows through the viewer in an experience unlike anything we have seen at the movies in 2023, specifically on IMAX format.
And again, just to paint this picture even more, Christopher Nolan directed a 3-hour biopic about the father of the atomic bomb, and yet it made almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I will say this because I want to poke the bear on purpose.
Uh-oh.
Don't ever direct a sex scene again, Christopher Nolan. Unless you're doing a movie called The Anti-Life Equation and it's starring Darkseid and there is absolutely supposed to be no love for anyone in the movie.
What are you talking? They're not just supposed to go up and down like mannequins going.
And this is where the parents put on earmuffs or turn off the computers because their kids aren't wearing earmuffs for the kids to hear it. But anyway.
Anyway, apart from that, though, I will say masterful film, just masterful in every single way. Love it. Love the performances. Love the direction. It's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie since Dark Knight. Did the Prestige come after the Dark Knight or before it? I think before.
That was
before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie since that.
Moving on to Best Original Song. Keona picked I'm Just Ken. Very solid choice.
Peaches. If they had peaches on the ballot, okay.
Before I get to the others, I do want to say one of my hopes is that they open the broadcast with Jack Black performing Peaches, but instead of the chorus singing Peaches, he changed the lyrics to movies.
That would be cool. That would absolutely be cool.
I could totally imagine him coming out and actually starting the show with that, or with like a variation on that, and then it just becoming a medley of I'm just Ken with Peaches.
Oh, that would be so good.
I mean, it would definitely be less cringe than what they did with Encanto a couple years ago. Just
Never do that again.
I could see if Timothée Chalamet was asked to be the host, I could see him, doing a performance and something along the lines of rewriting the lyrics to "A Hat Full of Dreams," and then something movie related, talking about the how to make a movie about different categories and the build up to tonight, and then and talking about that and a hat full of dreams and so on and so forth. Like something like that would be a wonderful opening if Wonka's music was recognized. Anyway,
you know what that reminds me a lot of? The Hugh Jackman's Oscar intro.
Oh yeah.
Superhero movies don't get nominated, and that's the only thing I remember because I was close to 15 years ago.
Oh God.
oh,
Yeah, we're all ash.
yeah. And now he's coming back.
Yeah.
So Keona picked I'm Just Ken, and I think the three of us all have What Was I Made For, which I gotta say is probably one of the best.
That's
One of the best songs written for a movie in quite some time.
I cannot agree with you anymore, Captain, because whether it's on my playlist or on the radio, every time I hear this Billie Eilish ballad, I am instantly transported back to sitting inside the Dolby Cinema at AMC 20 in Plainville, Connecticut on that New England summer afternoon. The cue, emphasizing the power behind that moment between characters portrayed by Rhea Perlman and Margot Robbie. It's giving me chills just thinking about it right now. It gives me chills every time I think about it.
Yeah.
While other individuals may find themselves enough and dancing to the upbeat of I'm Just Ken, the emotion and the power of this ballad, written by Eilish and Phineas O'Connell, is reminiscent of, when done right, the genuine connection between parent and offspring. And I think of this moment, and on a personal note, my younger sister got married 13 months prior to the release of Barbie. And thinking of the journey that Mama Hughes had gone through up to that point, especially with how my sister, as an adolescent, grew up with Barbies of her own, I like to think that Mama Hughes shared a similar sentiment between herself and her only daughter as she prepared to send her out into the next chapter of her life. And something I like to believe my grandma extended to my mother in a similar way during the build-up to my mother's wedding day, which was October 28th, 1990. And it's a moment designed to be symbolic of self-sufficiency and confidence, the power of emotional connection that allows the viewer to grow in a sense of realism that lives through them.
Well said. Honestly, just anytime I listen to that song, I honestly just can't help but shed a tear during the chorus of that.
Absolutely.
It's quite literally the perfect song to win, I think.
And honestly, after her performance at the Grammys a couple of weeks ago, I mean, to me, that was just like, okay, we're done here. Like, this is like not even a contest anymore.
Like, even her winning that Grammy for, I think it was just Best Song of the Year, that was the proof. And that usually doesn't happen, where a song from a movie wins one of like the big prizes.
It's that powerful of a ballad. Absolutely. It's a rarity, but the right song, the perfect combination, the right tone, the right connection. That's what was I made for.
I will say the reason why I picked I'm Just Ken is because that was the moment in the movie where I was like, I really like this movie. And then that song happened and I'm like, I love this movie. Love it. Just it surprised me because it went full comedy and I loved it so much. And as much as I do love it, I will say that I think what you guys picked is absolutely going to win, and it should.
Staying in the world of music, the next category is best original score. Now, Keona, I love your off kilter pick for
Left field.
yes, Lauren Balfe for his work on Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Wow.
Great.
That would be the one that I would pick.
My left field choice was Joe Hisaishi's work for The Boy and the Heron, because I think Joe Hisaishi
He should have gotten nominated.
he absolutely should have gotten nominated.
Absolutely. My God. It's so good.
Like, he's at the point where he's at the John Williams portion of his career. I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm like, just give the man his goddamn Oscar.
Exactly. Now, Tommy, what about you? What was your choice for best original score?
My selection for best original score was Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer, because
Excellent.
the talent showcased from this 39-year-old Swede is one that has elevated him to legendary status. Every time he composes a score, he finds his way into the project. With his original score of Oppenheimer, he creates a sound where the viewer feels the many different emotions of the title character's story. And an example of this uniqueness could be heard in the film's original announcement teaser that played before Nope in 2022. What the viewer originally believes to be a sound edit turns out to be a part of the musical score, with the payoff coming as the film's falling action is written and realization sets in. A challenging score in the vein of oneself, the sound of the violin in the score portrays an essence of capturing the portrayal of the story's title character. This showcase is captured spectacularly throughout the score, so much so that by the time we hear the people sing in the upbeat and optimistic sound in the movie's final moments, the haunting combination of emotions propel this masterclass of work. While Göransson's been being nominated alongside generational legends in John Williams and Robbie Robertson, one could see this as a figurative passing of the torch moment, one that will make his second Academy Award in this category that much sweeter.
I think Göransson is going to win as kind of part of the Oppenheimer sweep. But even if this wasn't like Oppenheimer's year, I still think Göransson, just as a composer in his own right, is incredible, and he did some of his best work here.
Well, the thing about Göransson is that all the scores are unique and identifiable, which is such a rare feat these days when everything just kind of sounds, I don't want to sound like too mean, but you know, the trailer music soundtracks that you used to buy from iTunes where it just comes into be like this homogeneous like glop.
Oh yeah.
Göransson's not, Göransson's not like that. I mean, he's like so versatile, from like composing scores for like The Mandalorian to like a more early 2000s score with Turning Red. And then of course his collaborations with Childish Gambino. Like, the guy has been like had his hands in like so many different pots. And the fact that he hasn't even hit 40 yet is like ridiculous. And he just absolutely deserves it because it is just another banger score.
He also composed the score for Community, the TV show. It just shows his versatility. And I remember sitting there and watching Avengers Infinity War. And I just remember them going into like, which has a great score in and of itself. And then you get to the part where they go into Wakanda and you hear Ludwig's, you hear his Wakanda scores just start playing. And I'm just like, I sat up in my chair. It got me in that moment because I was like, wow, this is so good. And yeah, I mean, I hope he wins. I hope he wins. With all due respect to John Williams, who is the greatest of all time, in my opinion, whose career is transcendent, I think Ludwig is definitely the man to beat in this category. But I will say, I really enjoyed that Mission Impossible score from Lauren Balfe. I'm just saying.
I felt these like kind of like incredibly underrated too, and the fact that his score for like the live action Ghost in the Shell, which was one of the few highlights of it, still hasn't been officially released, like really fucking pisses me off because it got canceled when it looked like the movie was inevitably gonna bomb. But that score is like so fucking good. But anyway, I thought John Williams too. I think if anything, he should have won for The Fablemans.
He should have.
Oh, yes.
Because that score was like so like more low key, but it was like super heartfelt. But yeah, I think it just scored sincere. I mean, I love you, John Williams, but I'm like, I don't want to say he was phoning it in, but I just think he's done things that are a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too that if you were to ask John Williams, he would probably say, I mean, he wouldn't say that, but he would say like, it's Ludwig's year. It's, pass the torch, as Tommy said, as Mike said also.
Agreed.
100%. Absolutely. That'll be such a cool moment to witness should it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Now, before we continue, there is a new category that will be introduced, I think, next year. Best casting direction. This will be a really interesting one because 2023 had such like huge ensembles of like just incredible all-stars. And I think between the four of us, we each have, I would say, pretty unique answers. Tommy, you went with Barbie.
That's right. My special recognition for casting direction goes out to Lucy Bevan and Allison Jones for their casting of Barbie. This is an all-star cast that came together for Greta Gerwig's and Margot Robbie's vision that helped further elevate the story and mannerisms that might have been seen as paycheck gigs had this been handled by anyone else. Yet it wasn't. From America Ferrera's Academy Award nominated performance as Gloria to Will Ferrell's performance as Mattel's CEO, from John Cena's cameo to Dame Helen Mirren's narration, it provides a sense of relief and optimism that casting directors will begin to be recognized for their impacts in this industry, as the incredible casting of Barbie was for 2023. That's why this news is incredible, because individuals such as Bevan and Jones will get the recognition they deserve.
And Bree, you went with Barbie as well.
I want to say like I'm carrying like a lot of the same up points, but I mean, I don't think Barbie would work without this cast, because it's just like so on the nose, where it's like self-aware, but it's also incredibly endearing, which is not something that any actor can necessarily do. And as much as, go on Twitter might not like certain parts, I'm going to get to that later. But basically, for the Barbie movie, the one thing that you can't call it is insincere. And I think casting in the Oscars has been like a long time coming. It should have happened years ago. And I'm just glad that it's finally getting some recognition, because movies literally cannot exist without actors.
Well said. Keona, I think for your choice, I like your choice because it leads to another category that I believe absolutely should exist. Best stunt performance. And 2023 had two movies with some of the most intense stunt performances. John Wick 4, probably the most memorable scene outside of like the big action suite in the third act. Keanu Reeves falling down 50 flights of stairs is mad impressive. Then we have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which did win Best Stunt Ensemble at the SAG Awards.
And rightfully so.
After seeing it, I had understood why.
I was kind of torn between John Wick 4 and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I can't really complain about the results there, but for my choice for who wins best casting direction, for me it would go to Oppenheimer, only because this is the movie with an incredibly stacked cast of pretty much all A-list actors, but all in various sized roles. And like, whether you're number one on the call sheet, or you have like one scene with like 2 lines of dialogue, you're still giving it your all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the that all-star cast in and of itself is a wonderful reminder of why this award is being brought to life. Could have said it better myself about Oppenheimer.
For my choice personally, it was John Wick Chapter 4 for casting, because I just think that basically there's, I would say, 2 main ingredients to an action movie. One is the cast, the other is the action. And by cast, I mean, like, do you have characters, and not just characters, but actors that the audience can really find their way into, with little in terms of maybe plot development or character development. I mean, some action movies, you don't have much of that. Some action movies, you don't really need that. So what you really need is, you need action, you need a believable cast, and you need excellent stunts. So there are 3 main ingredients, actually. And also a really badass score doesn't hurt. But I will say that for John Wick 4, I kind of want to get it on there, because I'm like, this movie definitely deserves some kudos. And if there was an action movie category that existed in the Oscars, I would say it's either this one or Dead Reckoning. And for me personally, it's probably John Wick. And Donnie Yen is awesome.
Yes.
Anytime.
No arguments there.
Lance Reddick.
So now we go to the category that has had my head spinning ever since the start of award season. Best Animated Feature. I am going to go last, because even as we're recording this, I still haven't made up my mind, even though I've already completed like a couple other Oscar ballots for like different pools. Keona, you went with Across the Spider-Verse, with a special mention for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which, quick aside, the sequel has been announced and will be released October 9th, 2026.
So happy about that. I'm glad they're giving it a sequel. I'm glad.
Looking forward to it. And hopefully John's of Bleecker Street can outbid Pizza Hut, Papa John's, and Domino's. Well, they've already had Domino's. They haven't had Papa John's yet, I don't think, to be the official pizza of the movie. They're able to come to New York. Hopefully. We can only hope.
Hopefully. Bree, I love your choice. Nomota. If Nomota wins, it would be the ultimate vindication for the journey of this film's production.
Yes, because even before like the whole Disney fiasco, like everything from what I've heard creatively from people who worked on it, this was a tough movie to make, and added on top of literally the studio shutting down, the film getting rescued, and all that. It's really the feel-good film story of the year, and the fact that the movie's like fucking excellent, it's just like bonus points. I definitely one of my top 10 of the year. It was one of the more cathartic experiences, and here's the part that's going to be like a little bit controversial, and why I picked this over Spider-Verse. Don't get me wrong, Spider-Verse is fucking great. It's a great follow-up to a great movie. However, it is clearly like a part 1 of a part 2.
I agree.
Nimona, to me, it just feels like a more complete movie-going experience, and I honestly think the rating's just a little bit tighter. Sorry, Lord and Mother.
Fair.
I mean, it's really tough. I mean,
That's a fair critique. Yep.
No, I think me and Mayhem probably should have got it, and also part of me kind of wishes that for Best Animated Feature, the category amount was like up to 6, because there were so many good animated movies this year, especially from like overseas. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the chance of Nimona winning in reality, probably not great. Like in any other year, it probably would have a better chance, but I'm kind of hoping like a split vote happens, might sneak in there. But otherwise, just the fact that it even got nominated is just validation enough.
That's where I'm at with that movie. Like I have said from the start that it's a 2-horse race between Spider-Verse and The Boy and the Heron. But the fact that Nimona even got nominated is like the nomination is the win. Speaking of Boy and the Heron, Tommy, that was your pick.
That's right. The awe-dropping presentation of the experience that is The Boy and the Heron from inside the cinema is gripping. While co-director Hayao Miyazaki stands out on his own in a legacy to be studied by filmmaking undergrads, this masterful storyteller is an equivalence to the world of animation, what Martin Scorsese is to live action in the United States. The Boy and the Heron serves reminder to what animation is all about. Whether computer-generated, stop-motion, hand-drawn, augmented, or anime, it is a form of storytelling to be enjoyed by all ages. I am so glad that I felt a consensus where the general public took to heart Guillermo del Toro's words at last year's Academy Awards, and that the world of anime is able to be celebrated throughout various presentations. That is why The Boy and the Heron has my vote.
Well said. I think the reason why I personally think The Boy and the Heron is going to win, even though Across the Spider-Verse won the Annie for Best Animated Feature, there might be a section of the Academy that feels like, oh, we already gave the award to Spider-Verse. Let's give it to what very well could be Miyazaki's final film. Because
he will not show up to this ceremony either.
Oh, of course not. But honestly, this is a tough one. It could go either way.
So which one would you pick, Mike? Would you pick Boy and the Heron?
You probably got five different. We probably got 5 different arguments for each one on why they would win.
This is why this category has been a giant headache for me, because I just kept going back and like every time I've done a like one of those Oscar pools, I just kept going back and forth between the two. But ultimately, if I have to like place my flag, I'm placing it on The Boy and the Heron.
I kind of agree there. It's just this year, I mean, the last couple of years have been tough, but this year's been really tough. And especially since you don't really know, because someone finally had the balls to say no and say, no, Disney, no.
For me, the reason why I picked Across the Spider-Verse is because it's tied with Barbie for my favorite movie of the year last year. And it was just an adulterated enjoyment for me, personally. Seeing all the Easter eggs, seeing all the characters and everything, it's just so much joy. I fell in love with it from the minute that it turned on. And then Spider-Punk also was incredible, in my opinion. So,
yes.
Yeah, stick it to the man.
So, now we are going to Best Supporting Actor. I think all 4 of us are kind of leaning in the same direction, but there's a little bit of a diversion. Tommy, I know you went with Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, I did. Robert Downey Jr.'s 3rd Academy Award nomination will be the charm for his performance as Louis Strauss. He delivers a performance in the mode of a full-on snowball effect, emphasized by Christopher Nolan's choice to sector the character's point of view as fusion. This character study sees a Rear Admiral of the United States Navy and chairman of the AAC bring the title character aboard his commission, only to be left with a bruised ego after the title character publicly dismissed Strauss's concerns. Ultimately, the viewer sees the de-evolution of an individual who is fueled by envy and revenge as a result of a fractured ego. An impassioned monologue over a misunderstanding is the standout moment that sealed the deal, and why Downey Jr. not only has my vote, but will hear his name be called winner at the 96th ceremony.
Well said. Now, I'm pretty sure Downey Jr. has won all of the major awards, but Brie, how cool would it be if for the final major award, it went to Ryan Gosling?
I
Oh.
mean, it would be hilarious. I mean, look, the Oscars get drunk and stupid at one point. There's always, one what the fuck category. And I think there's a good chance that this could be the year. But I mean, on paper, absolutely, it's going to go to Robert Downey Jr. But Ryan Gosling, I mean, yes, it's not as serious of a role, but Barbie as a movie, I don't think can work without Ken, and especially like Ryan Gosling's Ken, because he is literally like the central conflict of the film. He is like the definition of supporting actor, as in he is literally supporting the film. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be my number 2. I still think it's going to go to Robert Downey Jr., but wouldn't be shocked if it was a surprise too.
Yeah, I think it just is going to Downey Jr. But man, that would be a moment if Gosling took the prize from him.
A whole new gift and a sentiment of heartbreak to Michael Keaton.
Just remember, you are Kenneth.
That is true.
Now, Keona, you also said Downey Jr.
You know who also would, I think, kind of deserve it as well as Robert De Niro. Like Killers of the Flower Moon. I think he was excellent in that, and it was very like for me anyway. Like you could tell he was evil, but he was so like it was just a masterwork of being more subtle about it. I enjoyed that aspect of this role.
I feel so bad for Martin Scorsese because let's say the Oscar doesn't go to Gladstone and Emma Stone takes it for Best Actress. This will be the second movie in a row that potentially goes home empty-handed. And nominated for the same amount of categories. Because both this and The Irishman were up for 10 awards.
That's true. Forgot about that.
But going back to Best Supporting Actor, yeah, it's Downey. It's his. It's been his it's honestly been his ever since. Not that these awards matter in terms of voting, but as far as exposure goes, his speech at the Golden Globes that did it.
No, I agree, Mike. That was the moment.
What's so good in the movie?
What clip would they play? I mean, there are plenty of clips to choose from, but
so many.
take out that moment, take out that impassioned speech that he gave to Aldrin. That's the one I watched and I'm like, that's Oscar material. I mean,
I think that's the clip.
Yeah, if it's not, I'll be. I mean, there are other clips to choose from, but it's like I think it was Kevin McCarthy that talked about on his Twitter when Sylvester Stallone got nominated, when he talked about why he was really surprised that the Oscars chose the "I don't know if you're special" moment from Mix over the locker room scene where after Adonis found out he was sick. You know, like it's hard. It's surprising that can't happen, but I don't know. It'd be. I just don't know how one can take that particular moment and not play it in as they read the name and the nominees are Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, and they play that impassioned moment.
Yeah.
All right. Next is the other open race. Well, open 2-horse race. Best lead actor.
Get your popcorn ready.
Keona, you went with Cillian Murphy.
Yep. I went with Cillian because I think he had so much, like he had to do so much with just a look in the film. And he also had to play like a multitude of different emotions and different situations and just the conflict within Oppenheimer as a man and as a character. I feel like Cillian Murphy just nailed it completely. I think it's a performance that needs to be studied in terms of its importance to acting, and I think he's always been a terrific actor to me personally, and I think that this just underscored why in just one role.
Couldn't agree more. And knowing that the script was written in the first person, and also
Yeah.
just the rapport that he and Nolan have built up for almost 20 years, kind of makes this the role he was born to play.
Yeah.
Now, Bree, state your case for why Paul Giamatti could take this award.
Well, my case is kind of a stupid case.
No,
I'm
it's a stupid case.
No, for me, it is. I purely want Paul Giamatti to win because I'm just genuinely curious to see which food venue at the mall he goes to. I'm trying to
The stat corrected. No.
So the Oscars are usually held, I believe, at like Hollywood and Highlands. That's the entertainment mall complex that they're in. Is there a Cheesecake Factory there?
They serve burgers at Cheesecake Factory?
Oh yeah, their burgers actually aren't that bad.
I mean, I personally prefer more of their flatbreads, but I'm just the idea of Paul Giamatti in a Cheesecake Factory just absolutely is sending me.
Now I'm gonna have to go to there's a Cheesecake Factory across from where down the stairs from where I work. I'm gonna have to go and order a burger there now. Challenge accepted.
No, I mean, personally, I just to kind of be serious a sec. I don't think the race is as tight as some people think. I think it's just Cillian Murphy's to lose, but I'd be super happy if Paul Giamatti won.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, with the back and forth breed, any one of those two could win. I mean, it'd be a no pun intended. It would be a sideways upset if even as good as cool as it is to see Jeffrey Wright as good of a performance he gave in American Fiction, it'd be a sideways style upset if anyone but Giamatti or Murphy walked out at this point.
On that note, Tommy, you chose Cillian Murphy.
That's right, I did. And like I said, I would still be incredibly thrilled if Paul Giamatti won for his role in The Holdovers. But the reason I chose Cillian Murphy is because his performance as the father of the atomic bomb stuck with me throughout the calendar year. From the character's rising action to the discovery of his actions, it may be simplistic in comparison to other acting moments throughout 2023, yet the power behind such delivery is one that will be looked back upon for generations to come. It all leads up to that haunting final moment in the title character's reflection, the realization of what humanity can do when granted with even the smallest dosage of knowledge and utilize its power in the most unintentional of ways. Oppenheimer is to Christopher Nolan what Saving Private Ryan was to Steven Spielberg. And as with Emma Stone and her performance in Poor Things, it's hard to envision how another performer would have been able to pull off Nolan's vision if Cillian Murphy was not in this role.
That is exactly why I'm ultimately going for Cillian Murphy. Now, I'm going to save Best Picture for last because that is the ultimate prize. So to vamp a little bit before we get to Best Picture, if there was one nominee, regardless of its chance of winning, that would make you jump out of your seat with joy, what would be that nominee if they were to win? Bree, I'll start with you.
I know this is going to kind of be repetitive to what I said earlier, but Nimona, I don't think it's going to happen, but I met one of the co-directors and Andy Stevenson, which he is the nicest dude, by the way, last October. And they're all such good people. And I just think good people should win good things.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's a great answer. Absolutely. And that's the beauty that is this art form, all work, even if the nomination itself turns out to be the overall victory, work deserves to be celebrated. And moments like that are the reasons why we love this craft so much.
Agreed. Now, Tommy, what about you? What is your jump out of your seat nominee?
If What Was I Made For won Best Original Song, that would be the one that would just make me fist pump in the air and jump for joy. It's that the power behind that emotional connection is one of those things that lived with me throughout 2023. And it's like Brie was saying about Billy's performance at the Grammys, it would seal the deal and just be so emotional. It's that power of that emotional connection and why we love this industry so much.
And the other thing about What Was I Made For, if it would, I think it would be Phineas and Billy's second Oscar, correct?
Correct. After No Time to Die.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
They did win for that.
Which honestly, like, if they win, what it kind of cements to me is them being one of the great songwriting duos of like the 21st century.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, there's no one will replace Lennon McCartney in the history of pop music, but this brother sister duo is just absolutely phenomenal, and they will stand the test of time. Couldn't have said it better myself, Brie.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And they're still so young in their career that like they have just a bright future ahead of them.
Agreed.
Now, Keona, what would be your jump out of your seat?
I'm changing my answer from what I told you before because this has zero possibility of happening. Zero.
Oh.
If Coleman Domingo won Best Actor,
Oh my
I would
God.
literally jump out of my seat.
Yes, that
I love him. I think he's a terrific actor in everything I've ever seen him in, including Fear the Walking Dead. He's phenomenal. And one day his time will come. It is not probably this time, but if he were to win completely out of the blue, I would lose my mind. Yeah.
I have not seen Rustin yet, but I like he was great in The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And just anytime I've been seeing him in interviews, he just comes across like such a sweetheart. It would be so cool if he were to win. I know he has zero chance of actually pulling it off, but just the fact that he was nominated is enough of a win in terms of like getting his name out there. And I'm sure he will have an Oscar one day. Same thing.
Yes,
with
he will.
Same thing with Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah,
it was just cool that they both made it into the race. But
look at that Best Actor category, though. I mean, like Bradley Cooper, also in Maestro, he was fantastic in the role. That is completely like all of the performances in that category are amazing and awesome.
So much deserving. Every nominee this year deserves to be there. And you know, it's like seeing Cord Jefferson's name in adapted screenplay, for example. You know, being able to. I had the privilege of speaking to him this past November when I saw American Fiction for the first time, and you know, hearing his vision come to life and adapting this story and how it spoke to him. And I loved it because when you think of similar classics of the sort in the vein of A Lie Going Too Far, that was one of my concerns when I asked him about that. I said, in the vein of the theme of the lie going too far, was there ever any concern of thinking of similar stories in the passage as those of in the vein of a Tootsie or a Not Okay? And I loved his answer because he said he had never seen he didn't see either one of those movies. And I was just like, brilliant. That's when you know you're in the midst of something special. And in the conversation, he said he looked forward to watching Not Okay in the near future. So it was just absolutely just a wonderful guy, and getting this recognition is his debut directorial film, and seeing this adapted screenplay get nominated alongside some of 2023's very best: Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Barbie, and The Zone of Interest. What a stacked list of nominees for adapted screenplay. It's incredible.
For me, looking at best original screenplay, You got Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, and two first timers, Sammy Birch for May December. By the way, Warner Brothers released Coyote versus Acme.
Yes, please.
Hell
do.
yeah.
And
yes, please do.
And Past Lives by Celine Song. I think if Past Lives wins Best Original Screenplay, that would be my jump out of my seat nomination.
Great choice.
Yeah, excellent choice.
By the way, shout out to Celine Song for winning Best Director at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Oh, yes. Well done to her. Absolutely.
Well deserved.
All right. Are you guys ready for the big one?
I'm sorry. I wanted to say one thing. I had a brain fart earlier and I made a mistake.
Oh, no.
So actress in a supporting role, actually, Carey Mulligan was nominated for leading actress.
Yes.
So I'm completely wrong in that. In that case, Divine Joy Randolph, it's all yours.
There we go.
Hashtag Keona had one job.
So, Mike, do you want to just do this drum roll?
Yes. Drum roll, please. So, for Best Picture, we have Keona. You picked Oppenheimer.
Shock.
Tommy, you also picked Oppenheimer.
Aw.
That's right.
I also picked Oppenheimer.
Surprise.
And the reason I'm saving Bree for last is because if there were to be a tie or some sort of Moonland incident, how cool would it be if Barbenheimer actually manifested itself into the final category?
Oh my god,
that would be insane and a pop culture moment in history that everybody would eat up, and I would love every second of it.
That would be the greatest thing I've ever seen on an Oscar stage. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I went with the more chaotic version. I'm like, it probably will never happen, but just, oh my God, like everything would just completely melt down. But like for the like actual like mental reasoning behind it, the reason I picked Barbenheimer, other than the fact that it literally saved cinema, it's both of these movies are so connected to each other that it's kind of hard to separate them out. It is basically like a cinematic conjoined twin. Like one cannot live without the other. And again, 2023 is a year of Barbenheimer. And I mean, how crazy is that we... I know. But the crazy thing is that both these movies, Oppenheimer just barely missed it. Like, but that's crazy. Like $2 billion like movies for all intents and purposes on like the same day. That's like never happened before. And I mean, considering like how dour like everything has been, because Hollywood executives are fucking stupid and don't deserve their jobs because they don't do fucking shit. Like they literally like kept the whole like summer box office alive. And you know what? I think for just being such a pop culture, cinematic, and cultural experience, they both deserve to be Film of the Year because nothing else defined this year like Barbenheimer.
That's
very well said.
Absolutely. That's wonderfully said. And I would eat that up if that did happen. And like I said, talking earlier about how crazy moments of what would happen specifically like in the vein of La La Land and Moonlight here, if Barbenheimer did tie for Best Picture, never happened in Best Picture, mind you. A tie for Best Picture has never happened in history. But if that were to happen, that would be absolutely spectacular. But to continue about Oppenheimer, the entire creation of this cinematic epic from concept to completion is so fascinating that when such storytelling is done right, it will leave a profound impact on even the most general moviegoer. In my case, I was taken back to adolescence, and one of the items I enjoyed most about going to the movies. Sometimes, when walking down the hallways to attend my screening, there would be a teaser poster that would catch my eye and intrigue. If I were lucky enough, I would witness an announcement teaser preview for that project right before the movie I was about to see. When witnessing these announcement teasers at the movie theater, specifically over a year out from the project's scheduled date of release, the viewer gets an idea that, regardless of how the final product turns out, they're destined to be in the midst of something special. This was the case in the summer of 2022, just before the lights fully dimmed for Nope. In the vein of a countdown, the world got its first glimpse of a biopic centered around the scientists whom Kay Bird and Martin J. Sherwin dubbed the American Prometheus. Fast forwarding to today, as I sat in seat N15 in the IMAX screening room at AMC 20 in Plainville, Connecticut, from the sound editing of this story being felt right through me to Cillian Murphy's haunting final moment in a pondering premonition, Oppenheimer will be remembered for generations to come as a celebration of this cinematic craft biopic. The choice to film on film, combined with different color selections for the sake of orientation and character development, and pristine sound editing that flows right through the viewer, is an experience unlike anything we have felt at the movies in 2023. From the build-up to its pop culture phenomenon, I like to believe Oppenheimer will be, to Christopher Nolan, what Saving Private Ryan was to Steven Spielberg. A cinematic experience that will be talked about for generations to come.
Very well said. And unlike Saving Private Ryan, Oppenheimer won't lose to something like Shakespeare in Love.
Ugh, God.
And watch now. You're going to jinx a cap.
God, I hope not.
This playback. Mark the date and time. This moment is going to be played back on a recap special. If for whatever reason Oppenheimer loses to any particular nominee.
Can I say I want to talk about Killers of the Flower Moon for a second, because that movie in particular, it's a very long film. And for me, it's I had to be in the right frame of mind to watch it. Like, I couldn't just sit down and watch. I had to actually take it in like bite-sized pieces, because it's really well done, but it's very Martin Scorsese in that it's very long, it's very drawn out, it's very you have to be really laser focused in on it, for me personally. But the ending, the very end, where you see them sort of summarize the consequences of what went on during the film itself, and you see them performing it as like a radio play sort of thing, but with like a live audience there. I thought that was so interesting. And then to have the man who reads the final epitaph of the film, epitaph meaning like what happened with Molly in particular.
Yeah.
And it's Martin Scorsese himself. That hit me. And I was very impressed by it. Made me really appreciate the whole aspect of the film. So it made me actually sort of look back on it and say, I'm glad I watched this movie, and I'm glad that I know this now. Maestro was the same thing in a different way.
Yeah, the ending of Killers of the Flower Moon is the more I get away from having seen the film, the ending just keeps standing out as just one of those incredible moments that that really puts into perspective just how cruel man can be to underrepresented groups. And also just how terrible those atrocities were.
Yeah. Terrible that very few people knew. And I'm glad that he made that movie. And I'm glad that it was, I was very impressed by it, by him actually coming out there and being a part of the film and actually reading that last bit, because it showed me that this is something he really cares about, to the point where he will show up and actually take a measure of, take responsibility for filming it and showing it to the world and showcasing it. I just thought that was really impressive. Not to bring things down a notch or anything, but it's just, I just thought that was really interesting and cool. And you all know, speaking of the other movies that are nominated here, you all know how much I love Barbie. I mean, I love that movie. I think it was hilariously funny and absolutely one of the most meaningful films I've seen in a very long time. So yeah, I can't wait to see Poor Things. I still need to see that. But in terms of the ones that I did see, I thought Maestro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, and Oppenheimer, all great films.
Yeah. 2023 overall was it was one of those years to remember. And I really hope that this ceremony feels more so than other years, that it actually feels like it's celebrating the year that was.
Yeah.
I know Jimmy Kimmel is the host this year, and he's done a decent job in the past, but this time I hope he kind of takes a step back and lets the night be about the movies.
Yeah.
Honestly, can we just go back to like no host again? Because those couple of years were great. I mean, Kimmel's is fine. It just, he's like so restrained when he's like at the Oscars that he just kind of feels like space filler, which, you know what? I kind of get that because you don't want to take away from the movies. But my mentality is like, why bother at that point then?
Well, anything's possible. It's just like there are so many. It all depends on how one pitches a production. I mean, there could be a year in the future where the next crop of Avengers team up and host the show themselves. It all depends on what the theme of the show could be. So anything's possible. Like I had an idea in my head that I drafted about the possibility of the crew at ESPN College Game Day hosting the show.
That would be great.
Yeah, like the show opens to Big and Rich is Coming to Your City. It's the same thing you'd see on ESPN College Game Day, and then cut to a live shot at Dolby Theater, and then Reese Davis does the intro segment. Corso and Herb Street are doing another segment similar to the Heisman Trophy. Think of which performer will receive their own mascot head. Then Pat McAfee will be in there somewhere. So many possibilities, things like that. Just it all depends on how one pitches the show, the run of the show, how the year of cinema could be celebrated, so on and so forth. Anything's possible.
My dream host is the Muppets.
That would be good.
Excellent choice. But let me just kind of go back a sec. I know it's not College Game Day, but it would be great if we had Stephen A. Smith there.
Oh God.
Oh, that would be.
And then like Oscar viewers just calling with their stupid ass questions, and then Stephen A. Smith saying, "You're a fucking dumbass." Have you ever seen that? Like someone called about Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh my
God,
he
was on point. I loved it. Talking about Skip Weathers in there as well. That's the thing, it's like they could like throw in segments like a thing with Stephen A. Shannon on First Take, like throwing a little clip talking about a debate about movie moments or something like that. So many possibilities. So many possibilities are endless.
I mean, they're technically Disney employees. It's possible.
Exactly. That's what makes it. Think of all the money they'll be able to save. It's cost efficient. Absolutely spectacular.
The possibilities are endless.
Can we get a special appearance by the Dun Kings?
Oh, for the love of the Lord!
God,
you would bring that up since I ended up missing what night.
You picked it up. You picked up what I was throwing down. All right.
Shout out to Brock. We love you, man.
Well, this was a fun podcast. I'm glad we got to do this, and
me too.
I am very much looking forward to the Oscar ceremony Sunday, March 10th. I think it starts at 7 this year.
Yes, it's an hour earlier, and they will still manage to run an hour late.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
That's your DVR.
Yeah, make sure if you're recording this, you give yourself at least 30 minutes to an hour of extra time, because they always run late. But yeah, that'll wrap up this podcast. Before we get out of here, Keona, where can everyone find you online?
Oh, so you can find me on Twitter at Neoplasmic24. You can also find me on Instagram and Threads at Neoplasmic81. And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Neoplasmic. I just streamed earlier today on the day that this was recorded. So, getting back into that.
Nice. And Bree, where can everyone find you?
Well, when I'm not in the middle of editing and writing screenplays, you can find me on Twitter or whatever the hell we're calling it this week at Crazy Lemur. That is also my Blue Sky username, which, if you want a little bit more me being a sassy ass bitch, that's usually on Blue Sky, which if you're asking, how can I be sassier? The question you should be asking yourself is, why not? And then I'm also on Instagram at Lemur's Rule 1 and a few other places, but those are the ones that actually matter.
And Tommy, where can everyone find you?
You can follow me on X, aka the website formerly known as Twitter, at T_Hughes35, YouTube, Instagram, Letterboxd, Snapchat, Linktree at the T-Money35. Be sure to follow me on my second Instagram dedicated exclusively to cooking at Cooking with T-Money. Right now at Cinépolis, we are showcasing an adrenaline-fueled cinematic experience all throughout the month of March. Each Wednesday, for only $5 a ticket, you'll be able to experience action movie classics The Terminator, John Wick, Mad Max 2, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, all in the build-up to the release of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, scheduled to be released on May 24th, 2024. In addition, be sure to inquire about our special Mad March menu, whether it's a foot-long hot dog, a truffle smash burger, a jambalaya bowl, or a buffalo chicken pizza. These selections will be ideal for the dine-in experience throughout the month of March. Be sure to inquire through your local Cinépolis about pricing and menu specials they will be offering. Apologies to Matt Donato, we ran out of time.
And you guys can find me on various social media sites at Captain K42. You guys can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/Coach K42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and that place at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this episode of Renegade Marquee. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.